Hey friend! Today we're going to take a look at the issue of abortion and the different linkaged institutions that are discussing it. We attempted to cover a range of liberal and conservative sources in order to illustrate any possible bias on either side. A linkaged institution is an organization that works to connect the American people to their government through media and politics. We took one institution, a media source, a political campaign, and a political interest group, and chose to analyze them. Hi everyone! Today I had the opportunity to analyze a media source called Democrats Are Executioners for Trying to End Dangerous Abortion Restrictions by Bill O'Reilly. So, Bill O'Reilly is a very well-known conservative who speaks on television about popular issues such as legalization of marijuana, abortion, gun control, and many other things. So by stating he is a conservative, that means that he believes in traditional values, such as having a small government with free market and individual liberty, and with a strong national defense. This political view generally aligns with strict religious views also, and having a closed mindset. And on the opposite side of being a conservative is liberal, which is a Democrat who believe in having new ideas in the government and having equal opportunities for everyone, and believing in protecting social liberty. So with concerns to abortion, liberals believe that the woman has the right to decide what happens to her body, and the fetus, since it is not alive yet, has no rights. While on the opposite side, conservatives believe that since there is human DNA found at conception when the sperm meets the egg, the fetus does have the exact same right as the woman, and they should not be murdered or taken out of the woman's body because it is essentially the same thing as murder in the conservatives' mind. The political ideology of this source is conservative, meaning that they believe in the traditional view and that the fetus has the same right as the woman, so it should not be taken out of the woman's body, no matter what circumstance it is. So generally, if we are stereotyping conservatives, they are elderly Caucasian men, and for this case, it does fit with Bill O'Reilly. He is an elderly Caucasian man who is conservative, even though in his video he states that he is independent, meaning that he can decide which argument he believes in more. He is a well-known conservative, and he is generally throughout his video he talks about the conservative bias with abortion. So with that, we know that this source is biased because it generally gives a positive connotation to the idea that the fetus has the same right as the woman, and there's no mention of the liberal point of view, thinking that the woman has the right to do whatever she wants with her body because it is her body, and since the fetus is not alive yet, then she still has control over her body. So in this source, it generally talks about how this new abortion law, making it legal or not, is a stunt in Congress to make women vote more and be more interactive with the government. Throughout the source, they talk mainly about how human DNA is found at conception, so this should come into play, and this should be the main reason why abortion should be illegal. So although this video does give extensive evidence about the Republican side of the argument, it gives no facts about the Democrat. It does not even acknowledge the idea that maybe other people think that, because they are wrong in the eye of Bill O'Reilly's eyes. As well as the lack of democratic opinion, there's no statistics, no quoted research, and no counter arguments. Because of this lack of evidence, the debate is weakened due to the fact that it is extremely biased on the conservative point of view. Bill O'Reilly chose to pick two women from both parties, from the Republican side and the Democratic side, but they have the same point of view about abortion. There isn't two opposing sides. It's not an actual debate because they think the exact same thing about the issue. So they're pretty much just discussing the debate. They aren't debating the issue. As well as this improper debate, I found some logical fallacies throughout the source, the video. So for example, Bill O'Reilly introduces this by showing two Democratic senators and not allowing them to speak, but Bill O'Reilly just speaking for them, saying what they believe. And he introduces them by saying, quote, "Is he an executioner or is this unfair?" So by Bill O'Reilly comparing the senators to an executioner, that is an example of a red herring. So he is using the extensive example of comparing the senators to an executioner as someone who determines when it is okay to kill someone. And some may say that maybe this is true, but it is an extensive complaint or accusation against someone, because these people are not the actual people doing the abortions. They are merely trying to allow women to have the decision for themselves if they want to have an abortion or not. Also, there is a example of slippery slope when Bill O'Reilly is speaking for the Democrats. He specifically says, "We don't care about the human DNA found at conception. We just want abortions as easy to get as possible with no moral consideration attached." This is not specifically said by any senator. Bill O'Reilly decides that this is what he thinks that the senator is portraying when they think that the right is to the woman, not to the fetus at all. So he is stating that he thinks that because this reason, he is escalating the situation more and making these Democrats seem like they have no competence and no values, and that they're just killing people because they have no moral consideration attached to what they think. And finally, Bill O'Reilly actually has a personal attack against the Democrat he is interviewing. He speaks to her in a different manner than he speaks to the Republican. He speaks to the Republican kindly and asks her questions and let her speak as clearly as she wants, says whatever she wants, and he does not interrupt her. But when he's speaking to the Democrat, she is obviously nervous. She is stuttering throughout the video, and he purposely interrupts her multiple times, not letting her say her complete sentence. Even though she's trying to give two sides of the argument, he only lets her speak to the one side. He wants her to only show the conservative side, which she does believe in, but she wanted to make it a true debate and speak both sides, which he does not allow her to say. And he specifically points out in the video that she is a Democrat who believes on this issue with Republican values, and says, well, why don't you just join the Republican Party? This is a personal attack. He is personally attacking her. He is going beyond the barrier of what you should be interviewing during an interview, and it is very wrong. So, from this video, I have learned a little bit about myself. So, my own perspective, I am personally moderate, so I believe both in liberal and conservative sides. I'm more on the liberal side. I am pro-choice. I think that it is the woman's right to decide what she wants to do with her body, and that abortion should be legal, because there are circumstances where it may be necessary. Some people can disagree with me, and I understand where Bill O'Reilly is coming from. He came from traditional values. He believes in strict religious ideals. So everybody has different ideas, and I completely understand that. From this, I would normally probably not notice anything from it. I would just see, there's a Democrat and a Republican speaking, and they have the right to their own opinion, and I'm okay with that. This is not biased. He has two people from both sides. But after analyzing this video, I have seen that it is biased, and he does want the viewers only to see one side of the story. He does not want both sides of this argument to be seen, because he wants his viewers to think what he's thinking, and he doesn't want anybody else to think what they want. So I've learned that you need to be very aware that there are political bias among media, and maybe what everything you read or see isn't true. So this source and this video was very helpful to me, and I will definitely take it into consideration when I am looking at sources later on. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jack, and I'm here to talk about political campaigns. Political campaigns are one of the most important mouthpieces for the political system in America, because without a political campaign, how would you know what anyone who's running for political office wants to do? So I decided to take a look at a political campaign for Governor Scott Walker, where he talks about abortion and a bill that he had passed in his first term as governor of Wisconsin, which mandated that women watch the ultrasound of their fetus before they have an abortion. And so in his ad, he says that he's not against women, he's not against abortion, or he is against abortion, he's pro-life, but he's not against women having the choice and the freedom to make their own decisions. That's what he says in his ad. But the entire reason he made this ad, it's called Decision, was a counterattack to a group called Emily's ad called Illegal, where they criticize Walker's agenda, and they actually said that he has an extreme agenda against Wisconsin women based on his decisions and his laws and his bills in regards to abortion, because most of them are extremely against abortion. Actually, he has stated in the past that he's against abortion. He wants to make it illegal even in cases of rape or incest. And so it's clear to see that when you watch his ad the first time, he talks about how he introduces himself. He talks about how he is not against women having the right to choose. He is pro-life, and he says that his law, his bill, was just proposed to try and help women have another measure to help them think about what they're about to do. So on the surface, I watched this the first time, and I thought, oh, what a great ad. This guy seems really nice. He cares about women, and, he wants them to have freedom. But then I looked into the bill, and I looked at what it made him do, what it made doctors do, and what it forced women to do before they could have an abortion. And it's completely the opposite of what you would think. You go in and you watch the ad and you think he cares and he wants women to have the choice, but you look at the bill and that bill is just putting guilt on the women who are about to have abortions. Because once you've seen a fetus and heard its heartbeat, it's hard to go and abort that. It's hard to think of that not as a living thing. So it makes these women who are going in there, most of them need this abortion just to keep going on with a normal life, and it forces them to feel the guilt as if they had murdered their own child. And so this ad is just an example of how convoluted things are. Governor Scott Walker, is a strong, staunch conservative. His ad has a liberal or even like a libertarian tone. Freedom, open choice. That's not what conservatives say, which is abortion is wrong. And so when you watch it the first time, you think about how free and open the ad is and how free and open he seems to be about the issue. But as time goes on and you do more research, you realize that under the surface, it's all just a subliminal message for conservatives. It's a statement about how abortion is wrong and about how, even though he supports the choice, he doesn't believe that women should go through with it. And you wouldn't know this unless you look at it and you really look into the issue. And so, for me, as someone who's just looking at the media and analyzing it, it's really clear that you have to dig deeper and you have to double check facts. You can't take anything at face value. No matter what source it comes from, you always have to double check what anyone is saying. Otherwise, you could just be buying into the lies. Because half-truths and lies are how people talk on the media usually, and you don't want to just fall for that. You have to check people on what they say and make sure that what they say is factual. So that's just what I got out of this. Thank you.
I had the opportunity to analyze the Natural Rights to Life Association resource online. Their point of view on abortion is conservative. Um, Evidence to support why I believe that this source is conservative is due to the fact that they only gave the point of view of the conservative side, which is that abortion is wrong, strongly wrong. Their viewpoints is that whenever a sperm touches an egg, that is when a life comes to this world, and that when abortion is committed, it's considered a crime. The fact that they talk about this so much just shows the conservative side, due to the fact that they're just giving that point of view and giving critiques from specialists and people who are experts at their job, which is like aborting or having things to do with abortion. This source exhibits a lot of bias due to the fact that it only gives that point of view, which is that abortion is bad, it's strongly wrong, and that it should not be happening within the United States of America. The reason why I believe this is I went through many parts of the website, and one thing that I found is that they talk strongly about when a baby is born, why is it wrong, and how it's wrong, which is pretty biased in my opinion, to the fact that they're not giving the opposite side of the story, which is maybe that abortion is not such a bad thing, to the fact that maybe it's not a baby yet, it could be just a life, it could be a fetus, which for some people in their point of view it is not considered a baby yet, which is not considered alive. The fact that they use expert opinions and quoted research just increases the credibility of their argument, which is that abortion is strongly wrong and it should not be happening within the United States. They use quotes such as there's this quote that's from a French geneticist, which is somebody that specializes within the genetic side of a human body, and it talks about how a sperm reaches an egg and therefore it causes a baby to be created. And he goes on to talk about a much more detailed experience about it, and how in this case it is a murder due to the fact that you're killing a live baby. That is from the point of view of this French doctor. His name is Dr. Jerome. And this strengthens the argument. This is the fact that the country where where this the doctor is from, it's very, very, very technological, and they're very advanced on this sort of stuff, which is like hospitals, uh, um, hospitals that do like recovery centers and like Planned Parenthood sort of buildings over there, which is like for abortion. And maybe in some parts of it they do, maybe in some parts they don't. And so the fact that this doctor is here giving his point of view and facts as well just strengthens the argument that abortion is something wrong and it should not be happening. Um, there's also quoted research, such as a quote from New York Times, I believe, that says that once a baby and a sperm and and an egg uh, touch each other and they make contact and create a baby that is alive. It's not just a fetus. It is not just some kind of undeveloped baby. It's a baby for some people, and these sort of quoted research facts are the ones that make their arguments stronger and therefore make it more credible for some people to believe in. Um, some fallacies that I found is lack of statistics, which is something that in some cases it could probably strengthen somebody's argument, and in this case they're missing it, which could lower down the credibility rate of this argument. Um, Also, I could see a lot of the conservative side and not much of what could be a potential liberal side, which could be that the fact that some people have the opinion or the option to take on abortion, even though it could be a wrong thing, and so they only give the extreme conservative side of it, which is that babies are alive once sperm reaches an egg, and it just gives you that side, and it tries to put it into your brain that it's a baby, and you should not go through abortion like that. And so that's a ginormous flaw. The fact that they're only giving you their point of view, which could lower down a lot of the credibility that was built into this source from expert quotes and such. Um, and so like and so this way the source loses quite some credibility because it's a biased document. It is not giving you the other point of view, and therefore you start thinking about whether or not they are giving you a full story about why and why not it is wrong. Um, and so that's one of the biggest flaws. So going down to reflection, I feel like abortion is the linkage institution's point of view on abortion is that it should be allowed in certain states, which in my opinion it's good, and in some cases it could be bad. It's the fact that if it's in such a way that there's probably a bunch of states out there in the United States that are going through many rape issues, and that could be a possibility, and therefore they might need some sort of abortion type of exit to the problem, and so this could give them the solution. However, in some states and in some places of America, there's people who just do unprotected sex, and that causes a baby to come to life. And I don't feel like abortion should be an option in that case. So it's not the baby's fault that they had unprotected sex. It was a teenager's decision and wrong decision making to have unprotected sex. And so in some cases it should be allowed for some people, such as people who went through rape or physical contact with no will. But if there were people who just made a mistake and they did not do protected sex, which led them to a bad outcome of having a baby, I don't feel like it should be a thing. I don't feel like abortion should be an option for them. The linkage institution's contribution is beneficial to our political process due to the fact that it's giving them the option to act on abortion whichever way they want to act on it. So if they want to approve it or they want to enforce it in a more strict or a more lightweight, it's good for them because it gives them that option that they can they can bend the rules in whichever way they want to, which is beneficial to the political process. It makes it easier in some states and in the United States as well.